Now imagine if me, as someone who's 4 standard deviations separated from the normal man, if I just expected you to be able to do everything that I can do. I can jump to conclusions so quickly that no one even knows what happened. I can remember a time when I was working in a company and we were sitting around, we were discussing a number of issues, and they handed out a piece of paper that had one of the issues on it, and I scanned it in 10 seconds and I said out loud, well, this is a no-brainer. And one of the guys in the room, his name was Dave, he's a very smart guy. He was actually hurt. He was shocked and offended that I said that. And he's like, whoa, hold on. We need to talk about this first. Even if you got it, everyone else needs to understand. And so we spent like 5 or 10 minutes going over the thing in detail, and they were yammering back and forth. And eventually they reached the conclusion that I reached in 10 seconds. That's my experience pretty much all the time. I look, I know, I move on. If I were to hold you to that standard, it would be vicious, it would be cruel, it would be insane, and it would just be utterly unfair. That's not the gift that you were given. And I can't just say, oh, you're stupid, why don't you understand? No, I don't think that. I try to be charitable, but I know some people take more time. Now, in that case, I was in a room with a bunch of really smart people. Like the average IQ in that room was probably 130 plus. And so I just wasn't thinking. I was just relaxed and saying, well, this is easy. This is an easy one. Like I wanted to move on. I wanted to get out of there and go home. And yet it took 5 minutes for everyone else to struggle through it. And they did struggle. I can remember that specific problem. They had a hard time processing what I got like a lightning bolt. And the reason we're talking about something that's so controversial and upsetting, and we're telling you something that you can't see and you don't think is real, is because it's one of the things that God has equipped Corey and I to be able to do. We can connect these dots that no one else can even see. You may be able to connect to add 2 plus 2. I can add 2 plus 2 by inferring the existence of one of the 2s from what's going on in the environment, and I can imagine that the other 2 is the only possible solution to the problem. I don't need either 2 to connect 2 plus 2. You may need God to hand you both up, and you say, yeah, 2 plus 2 is 4. The ability to comprehend these situations is something that's not given to every man. The reason that Corey and I started Stone Choir, and the reason that we're talking about these issues that are upsetting and they're divisive and they make people uncomfortable, is that if Matt Harrison and the Missouri Synod and all these other places, all these other churches, it's not just about Lutherans, but they're our chief problem. If these men succeed in driving the whites away from these positions and replacing them with African Americans, how many of that 1.2 million who are even remotely capable of doing these things are going to be in those positions? The answer is basically none. You're not going to be able to maintain the same standards that we have